Hey guys, Mr. Steckler here. So, I have a meeting this period, so I'm going to go over this lesson with you via video. So please follow along with the video and do what I'm doing by pausing the video and stopping and working at your own pace. So what you're doing is you guys are starting on step number 7. So for step 7, you guys are learning how to create one-by-one tables, such as the one that you're given over here in step number 6 and 5 and 4 and 3. These purple one-by-one tables are where you're going to be inserting all your answers. Without these one-by-one tables, you guys would lose a point, and we don't want that. So here's how you do it. So for steps over here, 8, 9, 10, 11, you're going to have to create one-by-one tables for all of these guys and then shade them purple. This can only be done on the computer. I'll show you guys what to do next class if you need to do it on an iPad, but for today, only on the computer. So for question number 8 over here, we have a question called, what is a metacognitive question? Now this is a hard word to say, so use the pronunciation tool. Yes, talking is hard. So metacognitive, a metacognitive question. So in order to answer this question, what we're going to do is we are going to move our mouse after the question, and I want you guys to follow along with me as you do it. So watch the video, then do it yourself, pause me, and then play me again. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Insert tab of OneNote, and you're going to go to Table. You're going to see that there's a lot of different boxes over here. You're going to do a one-by-one table. By inserting that one-by-one table, you'll notice that we now have this table over here. A common mistake is people will go straight to table and they'll go to insert below. This is not what you want to do, because if you do insert below, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding another row to the pre-existing table I've already given you. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that we go to the insert and then table and then one by one. After doing that, you guys are going to go to the table tool over here, the little ribbon at the top, and you're going to go to shading, click the drop down arrow, and go to 60% purple. If you hold the mouse over it, you'll notice it says what the name of it, so 60% purple. So this 60% purple now will expand as you type it, and you would be able to answer the question. So you're going to make sure that you go in, and for every single question that you have, such as 8A over here, insert table, then shade purple. Over here, same thing, insert table, then table, shade purple. You have to do this for 8A, B, C, which should have been technically 9. That was a mistake on my part, my bad. And you guys are going to do that as well for 10. You don't have to do it for 11, but you will have a different format for 11, and you're going to do it for 12 and 13. For 11, just before I go over and explain anything else, you're going to continue the formatting that you already have. So in order to do that, you notice you have 1 and 2 over here. All you have to do is you're going to type in 3, and then in order to add another row, you're going to hold down the Control button on your keyboard, which is in the bottom left, and hit Enter. If you hit Control and Enter, the pre-existing format of the table will continue. So Control, Enter. So that is what you guys are going to be doing for this little table over here, within a table, which is the whole lesson. All right, so back to the lesson. So question number 8 over here says, what is a metacognitive question? So on the back wall, you guys can read, or you can follow along with me, but a metacognitive question is simply a question that is making you reflect and then evaluate or analyze how something went. So below over here, you're going to also put what we just talked about in this box over here. But below over here, we have 3 examples of metacognitive questions. So for example, what went well in your monster that makes it look similar to the original version? So when I say your monster, so your monster over here in attempt number 6, you're comparing it to my original version of Mr. Monster, which you guys can see over here. So you're comparing the original to what you created and thinking about how close you're able to get it. So you want to reflect over here for that metacognitive question to think about what went well in making it look similar to that original version. Now feel free to pause the video on Mr. Monster so you're able to see him. Next, what makes your monster different from the original version? So I want you to specifically look at your monster and then compare and contrast the key details that are similar and that are different from yours to mine, and then think about how it went. What questions may you have asked to try and get closer? Maybe the eyes were not filled in, or maybe the crown was different. So think about the little details that you could have asked to try and get your version closer to my version, and then reflect on that, because the metacognitive question over here is asking you to reflect and then tell me how it is different. And then finally, we have a question over here saying, how could you have improved your monster? So we looked closer to the original version. So then physically telling me what changes you would have made. I would have blank, 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 blank. So make sure you give me at least full sentences for these answers, as many details as you possibly can. You have your definition for 8, and of course, check off your boxes when you finish. Then, what is an algorithm? You guys already did this in our last class, but I have it here to remind you to spiral the instruction. An algorithm is a specific set of instructions, and you guys are about to practice an algorithm. The algorithm, you did do an algorithm. You practiced it while drawing Mr. Monster, but you're also going to make an algorithm over here in step number 11. So, in doing this, you guys are going to be writing an algorithm explaining how to brush your teeth. Now, this seems simple, but just like Robot Mr. Steckler, the more details you leave out, the more you're going to realize how silly it is. So you're going to have to make this as good as possible. For example, most people start this by saying, start brushing teeth, or something like that. But you didn't think about picking up the toothbrush. How do you get the toothpaste out of the tube? You can't just start with the toothpaste on your brush. Do you even start in the bathroom? Is the water running? Do you leave the water running at the end of the algorithm? You have to think about the whole process of brushing your teeth and be as specific as possible. Make sure to hold control and hit enter to add as many steps as you can. There's no limit to how many steps you can put, but the more specific the better. And I'm going to be rewarding the most specific algorithm for this step. So be as good as possible. Practice the idea of algorithms in question number 11. And I also want you guys in question 12 to be thinking about the order of the algorithm. So think about what would happen if you swapped 2 different steps. So if you were to brush your teeth before turning on the water, would the algorithm still work? So I want you to answer this, again, in a insert table, and then one by one, and you're going to then table shade it purple. And then finally, why are divergent questions important to practice? So we didn't talk too much about divergent questions yet, but we did talk about convergent questions in the question quickfire activity that you guys did over, where is it? Over here. So you guys asked a lot of questions over here, and these convergent questions had a specific answer. So on the other hand, divergent questions are questions that are open-ended. They do not have a specific answer. So in my class, you guys are going to be asked a lot of convergent questions. And convergent questions are important because they help you reveal details, and those details are important when you are drawing Mr. Monster. For example, the details needed to change your step number 3 to step number 6 to make him look a lot closer to Mr. Monster were important. But it's also important for you guys to be aware that divergent questions are perhaps more important, because in school, your teachers will often ask you questions in math, and they'll ask you things such as, what is the answer to this? How do you get this? But those questions are not necessarily questions that you'll need to do in the future. So something really important about divergent questions is that divergent questions have to do with the fact that there's not a specific answer. So the fact that there isn't a specific answer is going to help you build your curiosity and build your creativity. So asking these divergent questions is going to be important in class, because the more curious you are, the more you're thinking about certain topics in math and science, and the better of a questioner, the better of a thinker, the better a communicator, the better student you're going to be. So the divergent questions that you guys are going to ask should be questions that don't have a specific answer. Why does this happen? I wonder why bridges are able to last for as long as they do. Whatever wonders you have, these divergent questions are what we're going to be focusing on to get you ready for the Wicked Problem Project with the 3D printer. So they're important to practice to get you ready for the Wicked Problem Project. And then finally, you guys should fill out your vocab lists. As a reminder, you can put definitions in the green column. For things such as a table, you're not going to have a definition, but you can explain how to insert it. You may even screen clip it to show me where the table is, and you can even insert that into your notes to show me that you know what a table is. For the snipping tool, I recommend you include what the algorithm is, which is Windows Shift S, so that you have that, and then you can continue filling out how you can use this concept. It's important also to understand for how you can use this concept, you should be linking your example to what you do over here for the divergent question. So for example, if you give an example of a divergent question such as, open-ended questions such as, why is the sky blue? And then you have an example over here of what it is, link it back to the definition. So I can use this to study things such as, why is the sky blue? And then I can link it to this definition to explain how the two are related. Don't just give an example and explain it. So the period is yours. Hopefully that helped you guys do this lesson, and I'll be back with you guys next week. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you later.